their unethical, corrupt dealings, which was worth $60 million. He dismissed everything.
Is there some corruption that...
What seemed like a clean legal victory for Blake Lively has exploded into the biggest celebrity scandal of the decade. On June 9th, headlines screamed she defeated her It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni in court, but by sunrise, the truth began oozing out like toxic sludge. This wasn't a win, it was a ticking bomb, and her own husband, Ryan Reynolds, lit the fuse. We've dug through sealed court documents, financial trails, and insider leaks to expose how a judge's brother, a $1.2 million backdoor deal, and Blake's panic room meltdown could end her career. Stick around. This story rewrites Hollywood corruption. Smash like if you chase the truth. When Judge Alan Lehman dismissed Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit, Blake's team called it total vindication. Media outlets crowned her queen of the courtroom, but buried in the 97-page ruling, 2 nuclear claims vanished, not disproven, dismissed. Baldoni's evidence that Blake hijacked creative control, rewriting scenes, banning him from editing, strong-arming casting, was erased overnight. Even more explosive, his proof sheet hidden ties to investors funding the film. These weren't technicalities. They were the case's foundation. Legal analysts gasped, dismissing such detailed claims, backed by emails, contracts, and witness statements, without a hearing? Unheard of. As one attorney whispered to Law and Crime, this reeked like the fix was in. Ryan's cryptic bomb. Then came Ryan Reynolds. At 6:17 a.m. on June 11th, he posted a black Instagram story. Justice isn't a Netflix script. Directors don't cast judges. No names, no context. But within minutes, sleuths connected the dots. His rage targeted Judge Lehman and Blake. Insiders revealed Ryan had discovered emails between Blake's crisis team and the judge's brother, Noah Lehman. One phrase screamed guilt. Let's get Alan to bury it. Ryan had confronted Blake days earlier, demanding she confess. She refused. His post wasn't just revenge. It was a judicial flare gun. Baldoni's lawyers pounced, citing compromised integrity in new filings. The message? Blake's win was bought. The $1.2 million brother deal. Noah Lehman wasn't just any sibling. A Hollywood director, he'd partnered with Blake on a 2019 charity campaign, a tie never disclosed in court. But the real dynamite? Bank records show $1.2 million funneled from Blake's PR firm to Noah's consulting company, Graywave LLC, days before the ruling. Baldoni's complaint calls it a conflict of interest dressed as consulting. Worse, security logs proved Blake's team held 4 secret meetings with Judge Lehman's staff in May. No visitor badges, no paper trail. When staffer Diane Renner leaked these records, she resigned, snarling, "I wasn't part of a cover-up." Her testimony? The judge looked scared, muttering, "This is bigger than both of us." The moment Ryan's Instagram post detonated across Hollywood, Blake's meticulously constructed world imploded. According to 5 independent sources within Fenwick Collective, her penthouse security cameras captured the raw, unfiltered collapse, hurling a $20,000 baccarat vase against her marble breakfast bar, shattering both crystal and composure. In the emergency strategy called just 22 minutes later, her voice wasn't just angry, it was raw, shredded panic. "He knows about Noah. He's going to ruin everything," she screamed, referencing the $1.2 million payment trail her team had buried. One staffer would later describe the sound as a wounded animal realizing the trap sprung. But the true unraveling came when she pivoted to wild conspiracy theories. Ryan's been meeting Baldoni's lawyers. Check his driver logs. I bet he went to their offices last week. Her legal team, led by seasoned attorney Marcus Thorne, immediately shut down the hysteria. Blake, accusing Ryan of collusion without proof is defamation, Thorne warned, his voice icy over the speakerphone. "You're handing Baldoni ammunition." The room fell silent as the weight of her miscalculation settled. She'd gambled that Ryan's loyalty would override his morals, and lost catastrophically. 3 hours later, Fenwick Collective's termination email hit her inbox. The subject line, contract termination, material breach, clause 9F. The body was a corporate knife twist. Our engagement requires absolute transparency regarding financial entanglements impacting litigation. Your failure to disclose monetary transfers to parties adjacent to the judiciary constitutes irreconcilable client deception. Translation: she'd lied about funding Judge Lehman's brother. Fenwick's team scrubbed every trace of her from their website within 90 seconds of sending it, a digital erasure witnessed by 12,000 industry insiders. The dominoes fell faster than crisis tweets. Netflix's content chief, Bella Bajaria, personally called Blake's manager at 2:17 p.m. that afternoon. The message? Conversations with courage is pulled indefinitely. The irony was savage. Blake's now-scrapped interviews special featured her lecturing filmmaker Ava Carlin about ethical courage in entertainment. Crew members leaked the episode's working title to Variety, When Power Corrupts Art. One production assistant texted a friend, "Guess life imitates art a little too hard this time." By June 15th, Blake resembled a ghost of her red carpet self. Paparazzi lurking near the New York County Supreme Court caught her fleeing through a service entrance. No publicist, no security, just oversized sunglasses and a wrinkled silk blouse. Her posture screamed defeat, shoulders curled inward, knuckles white around a burner phone, legs moving in jerky, uncoordinated strides. Body language expert Dr. Lillian Glass analyzed the footage for TMZ. This isn't grief, it's systemic terror. The sunglasses hide puffy, sleepless eyes. The slumped spine suggests physical exhaustion from panic attacks. She's not just losing a case. She's watching her identity disintegrate. Behind closed doors, the chaos metastasized. Her longtime hairstylist quit over toxic energy, while her personal chef reported meals untouched for 72 hours. Most damningly, 2 junior publicists from her abandoned team leaked audio to Radar Online of Blake ranting, "Ryan thinks he's so righteous, but he'd have done the same to protect his gin empire." The empire she'd built, actor, producer, lifestyle guru, wasn't just crumbling. It was evaporating in real time, leaving only scorched earth and federal subpoenas. Baldoni's legal team transformed into a surgical strike force on June 15, launching a 2-pronged assault that shifted the battle from civil disputes to criminal exposure. Their 97-page judicial misconduct complaint against Judge Alan Lehman weaponized Diane Renner's testimony, detailing 4 undocumented meetings between Blake's PR team and court staff in May 2025, all omitted from visitor logs and scheduled during blackout hours when courthouse surveillance systems underwent maintenance. The $1.2 million payment to Noah Lehman's Graywave Consulting LLC was dissected across 23 exhibits, tracing transfers through 3 shell companies linked to Blake's Artisan Circle Media, including a $400,000 creative consulting fee dated May 14th, 9 days before Lehman dismissed Baldoni's creative control allegations. Simultaneously, the $25 million civil suit against Blake for tampering and bribery deployed nuclear-grade language. The defendant orchestrated a conspiracy to corrupt judicial proceedings through undisclosed financial inducements to individuals adjacent to the bench, culminating in the intentional suppression of material evidence. The complaint demanded Blake's communications with 17 Hollywood power players, including deleted signal chats referencing Noah Lehman as the backdoor fixer. Crucially, it alleged Blake's team used Vanson Incorporated, a shadow entity tied to her production company, to funnel payments while avoiding paper trails. Federal escalation and Section 1443. Within hours, the Southern District of New York invoked Title 28, Section 1443, the civil rights nuclear option, to seize the case. This rare maneuver, typically reserved for state-level due process violations, argued Lehman's actions constituted color-of-law corruption by abusing judicial authority to suppress Baldoni's right to a fair trial. Federal prosecutors emphasized 3 smoking guns. Diane Renner's security log screenshots showing Blake's crisis manager entering the courthouse on May 16th under a pseudonym. Noah Lehman's bank records reflecting a $150,000 charitable donation from a Blake-tied fund to his nonprofit on May 18. Judge Lehman's calendar coincidentally clearing for a family dinner with Noah on May 19, the night before Baldoni's claims were dismissed. Table: key allegations in Baldoni's June 15th legal offensive. Document core accusation demanded outcome. Judicial misconduct complaint: Judge Lehman accepted indirect bribes via brothers consulting firm Lifetime Disbarment. Criminal referral to DOJ. $25 million civil suit Blake financed. Undisclosed judicial lobbying, asset freeze, industry ban from film production. Federal transfer petition state court, irreparably compromised case tried under federal racketeering, RICO, statutes. Fire, criminal exposure, and industry fallout. Columbia law's Marlene Kessler's warning crystallized into concrete peril. New York penal law treats indirect bribery of judicial affiliates as a Class C felony, carrying up to 15 years per count. Prosecutors began constructing a timeline suggesting Blake authorized payments to incentivize Noah's influence over his brother, a narrative bolstered by leaked Slack messages from Blake's PR firm reading, "Client-approved gray wave budget." No paper trail. The collateral damage spread rapidly. Netflix scrubbed Blake's conversations with Courage interviews special on integrity in storytelling, with insiders citing reputational contagion fears. Amazon Studios indefinitely postponed her directorial debut seconds, while luxury brands began quietly removing her ambassador content from social feeds. Judge Lehman was benched pending investigation, with the New York Judicial Commission noting prima facie evidence of impropriety in his rulings. Baldwin's endgame, from courtroom to handcuffs. Baldoni's legal team pivoted from winning a verdict to seeking criminal indictment. Their supplemental motion urged federal prosecutors to subpoena Verizon for Lehman's burner phone records, depose Ryan Reynolds about Blake's panic room confession regarding the payments, treat the $1.2 million transfer as racketeering activity under RICO, a move that could trigger asset forfeiture. The strategy exploited Blake's greatest vulnerability, her withdrawal of emotional distress claims days earlier to avoid medical record disclosure. Baldoni's attorneys framed it as consciousness of guilt, arguing she sacrificed those claims to distract from the financial paper trail. As federal marshals began reviewing courthouse surveillance tapes, Blake's world constricted to damage control. Her legal team reportedly drafted immunity deal proposals offering testimony against Judge Lehman in exchange for drop charges. But with Baldoni's camp declaring no settlements, only surrenders, the once untouchable star faced a grim new reality. Every financial record, deleted email, and encrypted chat now belonged to the prosecution's clock. Blake Lively's empire now resembles a ghost town. Isolated in her Tribeca penthouse with only rotating legal teams for company, she's been abandoned by the Hollywood ecosystem that once celebrated her. Luxury brands quietly scrubbed her ambassador content from campaigns. Netflix shelved her conversations with Courage special on integrity, a project now hauntingly ironic. Even Amazon Studios froze her directorial debut seconds, signaling industry-wide frost. Ryan Reynolds' silence screams louder than any headline. He's retained divorce attorney Laura Wasser and vanished from public view, leaving Blake to navigate the wreckage alone. Baldoni's legal battalion charges forward with brutal precision. Their June 15th motion demands federal intervention under Title 28, Section 1443, the civil rights nuclear option, arguing New York's courts are irrevocably tainted by Judge Lehman's alleged corruption. A sealed Southern District memo obtained by The Hollywood Reporter confirms preliminary review for judicial integrity compromise, with a transfer ruling expected by June 21st. Should it succeed, Blake faces federal RICO charges for orchestrating a bribery enterprise through shell companies like Vans Incorporated, a trajectory that could swap red carpets for prison jumpsuits. The California wild card, Blake's sole lifeline? A desperate pivot to California's #MeToo Shield law. Her amended complaint reframes Baldoni's $400 million suit as Darvo tactics, deny, attack, reverse victim/offender. A strategy endorsed by 19 women's rights groups in explosive amicus briefs. But the move reeks of hypocrisy. While invoking protections for survivors, she simultaneously withdrew her emotional distress claims to avoid medical record disclosure, a retreat Baldoni's team called consciousness of guilt. The social collapse. Blake's once impenetrable inner circle has imploded. Taylor Swift, her dragon and decade-long confidant, ignores pleading texts and voicemails after being dragged into the case. Marvel Studios openly mocks Baldoni's nice fool defamation theory, calling subpoenas for Deadpool documents a fantasy irrelevant to jurisprudence. Even her stylist and chef quit, citing toxic energy and uneaten meals. The gossip blog's bitter ex narrative, dead on arrival. Baldoni's lawyer Brian Friedman weaponized receipts. Leaked Slack messages show Blake's team directing client-approved gray wave payment. No paper trail. The point of no return. 3 paths now loom. Federal indictment if the $1.2 million payment chain proves Blake authorized bribes to Noah Lehman. Immunity deal offering testimony against Judge Lehman, a Hollywood betrayal that would end her industry credibility. Career annihilation as studios blacklist her to avoid reputational contagion. At the Time 100 Gala, Blake called her platform a responsibility. Who we stand up for, what we stay silent about matters. Yet behind court doors, She allegedly threatened to leak Swift's texts unless the singer publicly supported her, a coercion tactic Baldoni's team called extortion by celebrity. The ultimate irony? Blake's undoing came not from Baldoni, but from the man who knew her best. Ryan's Instagram grenade. Justice isn't a Netflix script, wasn't marital betrayal. It was a moral detonation against the machine she built. One where judges are cast like actors, truth is rewritten in edits, and dragons protect liars. As Lively's own stunt double told 60 Minutes Australia, she smelled kindness and mistook it for weakness. Now, with federal marshals dissecting courthouse surveillance tapes and Baldoni's team subpoenaing Ryan about her panic room confession, Blake Lively isn't fighting for her reputation. She's fighting to outrun the lies she directed.